This is a video to describe the Surd rule, which I refer to as the root of a product is equal to the product of the roots. I'm going to explain it using an example, which is quite a common example. It says express root 75 as k root 3, where k is an integer. You tend to see quite a few questions like that, just with a different number inside the first square root. And we can always deal with these questions by factorising the number inside the square root. So the square root of 75 can be rewritten in a couple of ways. If we look at the factorisations of 75, 75 is 1 times 75, 2 is not a factor, but 3 is. It's 3 times 25. If 2 is not a factor, then 4 won't be a factor either, and neither will any of the multiples of 2. But 5 is a factor as well. So 5 times 15 is also 75. There are no other factorisations of 75 apart from the reverse factorisations of the ones I've already written there. If you look back at root 75, then I could rewrite that as the square root of 5 times 15. I could do. If I want to work out the square root of that product, that's equal to the product of the roots. This is a general rule. So the square root of 5 times 15 is equal to the square root of 5 times the square root of 15. At that stage then, I could work out the square root of 15 in a similar way. 15 is 5 times 3, and so the square root of 15 is equal to the square root of 5 times 3, and if we use the same rule, the square root of a product is equal to the product of the square roots, then that's equal to root 5 times root 3. If I then use this in the line above, I can say root 5 times root 15 is root 5 times root 5 times root 3. And some students don't realise that the square root of a number multiplied by the square root of the same number is just that number, because that's what the square root is. The square root of a number is the number that you'd have to multiply by itself to equal the number. So if you do multiply it by itself, in this case if you multiply the square root of 5 by the square root of 5, you get 5. And so this just equals 5 root 3. You can see that we've managed to solve the problem using that method, but I'd like to suggest a slightly quicker way of doing it. When you find the factorisations of a number, these are the factorisations here of 75, look for the largest perfect square. So the largest perfect square that is a factor of the number. So the largest perfect square that is a factor of 75 is 25. And if you do that, you can make the question slightly quicker. So we can say root 75 here equals the square root of 25 times 3. And using that same rule again, the square root of a product is equal to the product of the roots. That's root 25 times root 3. And root 25 just gives you 5 straight away, which is a little bit quicker than the previous method. If you want more free content like this, available online whenever you need it, then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications, like this video and share it with other people who might find it useful.